Hello everybody, welcome to the decks of the weekend. I have in front of me a deck that hasn't been a thing since, since Glimpse of Tomorrow came out. People first tried the Eldrazi version, and then they went immediately towards the Elementals version, which is right now the more popular. Granted, Glimpse Elemental isn't a very popular archetype. I mean, it's there. If I play against a deck that has Glimpse of Tomorrow, I expect to see Elementals, but this list that came second in the MTGO Challenge, going undefeated in the Swiss, is wild. I'm definitely playing it for my channel in the next days, but check it out. So we are playing a 4-color deck, but not because of Omnath, because this deck always played Omnath because of Omnath just so good with Elementals, right? But 3 lands into play together, Omnath stacked 3 times, so you get Ultra abilities. If you play 3 Omnath together off of Glimpse and you get 3 lands, you get the ability like a million times. It is crazy, but this list doesn't do that. This list splashes white just for Ardent Plea, something I've never seen before. In fact, your mana base, of course, only has 1 Hallowed Fountain, and it's a combo version. So we have Omniscience, Emrakul. We all know about those cards. We don't really know that much about Nicol Bolas, the Planeswalkers. You'd be like, speak for you, Mango. I know what this card does. Okay, sure, great. But this card says +3, destroy target non-creature permanent. -2, gain control of target creature. That's crazy. -9, it's too long. Probably wins the game, though. But this is a newer card. It's called One with the Multiverse. It's an 8 mana card that you may look at the top card of your library, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. So you can just go off. But once during each turn, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library without paying its mana cost. So this is basically an Omniscience. Let's just put it that way. Might even be better than Omniscience. Like, you can't go Emrakul Nicol Bolas from your hand because you can only cast 1 for free. But sometimes you just have 1, and you can, even if you have nothing, with Omniscience, it does nothing. But with this one, you can play things from the top of your deck. So that's cool. You have Wave Sifter to gain some objects to glimpse into. You have Fury to kill your opponent creatures. So yeah, this is the deck. In the cyber, you have Leyland of Sanctity to protect yourself against Thoughtseize decks. But you can't really play too many permanents, because then, like, if you side in too much sideboard, like, this is a deck that is gonna sideboard very likely, I'm sure. Like, you might just have a couple of Mystical Dispute and a Glimpse against Blue-Red Murktide, maybe for some Furies, but yeah, outside of that, I think this deck sideboards very lightly because you can't really hurt the core too much. It's a cool deck. Again, I'm gonna play it on the channel. Check it out, because I've seen so this weekend, it's the first weekend on Magic Online where there were 4 challenges. So usually there are only 2 modern challenges. This weekend they added 2 more. So the other formats still only have 2 challenges per day on Saturday and Sunday, but modern had 4. 1 in Friday, I think, and then 3 on Saturday. No, one on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Yes, indeed. So a lot of more results coming out, and a lot of more opportunities for you to play Magic in the weekend for profit, because the challenges are the way that you can get a little bit ahead of your classic 3-2 or 4-1 or 5-0 that you can get in the leagues. But yeah, I definitely suggest Magic Online. A lot of my friends are picking it up with a Mana Traders account. Sometimes I lend them some cards, but overall, it's the best place to improve. Obviously, it might be expensive because you have to start somewhere eventually, right? And you're probably gonna lose a bunch at the beginning, but it is the best way to become a better Magic player. And yeah, it's my suggestion. For you as well, who like Modern, if you like my videos, put you out there. There's a lot of events going on in the weekend, every weekend on Magic Online. Let's go over to Legacy, which is a format that's just maybe waiting for a ban to happen. But in the meanwhile, just new decks are popping up and winning. Last week we've seen Mono White Hammer winning. We've seen the Blue Black Shadow deck doing very well, and this week we see Mono Blue Painter winning the challenge, and it's been impressive. I tell you, I played this deck already for my channel, so it's gonna be up in the next days, and I was impressed. So this deck is similar to Mono Blue 8 Cast. You've seen me plenty of time playing that deck. but it's playing the combo, the Painter Servant plus Grindstone combo. That's a 2-card combo, very good against the Mono White Initiative deck. Mono White Initiative deck, notoriously favorable. Sorry, it's good against my 8 cast, mostly because of Chalice and the Fast Clock, and also Tal is annoying. But this one you have a combo, so that deck doesn't have Wasteland, so sometimes you can just play your combo, defend, you just name blue, you defend it with 4 speech land, and then you just go off. In your sideboard, you have Kappa Cannoneer, which is amazing as Mono White Initiative. In fact, that's how I won most of my games against those like Source to Plowshare decks. I want to say that Kappa's bad against Power Blast and Force, but it's great against, decks that don't play Power Blast and Force. You have Spire of Industry because of Hey White Might, which is a nice card. Very nice to pick up off Saga and destroy your opponent's Saga. Again, there's a lot of busted cards in this deck, like Emery goes off against the Blue-Red Delver deck. It's a win, although this deck doesn't play Chalice. Chalice with the Voter 1 is your best way to beat Delver, so that matchup of this deck against Delver, I think, is going to be worse than 8 cast against Delver, so that's not a great place to be, but this deck should be better against Mono White Initiative than 8 cast is. Similarly to 8 cast, this deck doesn't have any cards in the reserve list, which is kind of cool. Granted, Grindstone and Painter Servant aren't cheap, but it's definitely something that if you want to spice your things up a little bit with 8 cast, you don't want to get too many new cards, this is something you can do. And again, if you want a challenge, impressive deck, you're gonna find it in my channel in the next days. Let's go Pauper, another format that, if you play competitively and hear people around, you're gonna hear a lot of complaints that the format is stale and things like that. But the PTQ this weekend that had a lot of players, over 150 players. I don't exactly know the number, but definitely an 8-round tournament, was won by Goblin's Combo. The top 8 was super diverse. Every archetype was featured in 1 or 2 copies. Nothing dominant, even in the win rates of the Mono Red, Affinity, and Dimir Terror didn't reach anything fancy. And this deck, played by a friend of mine, Bernas Torres, he managed to make top 4. Other people, a friend of mine also, has been championing this deck for a while, so I like this deck. And I think that it might be a strong choice right now in Pauper. So last week, I've also showed you an Orzhov deck. And Orzhov decks are becoming more and more popular these days because white is the best color possible against Affinity, because you have Dust to Dust, which is just, you cannot ever think of a better card against an artifact deck than Dust to Dust, and especially with the bridge right now. And black, it gives you the excellent removal spell of Cast Down, the Ancestral Recall, and Deadly Impulse. Maybe not necessarily in this deck, but you can sacrifice Spirited Companion or Inspiring Overseer and get, a lot of value because you draw a card here as well. And this deck has a lot of 5-drops, which might be a little bit scary to have 3 Vampire Sovereign, 4 Goliath Paladin without Dark Ritual. So it could be a little bit scary to play a deck with 7 5-drop. Pegasus Guardian is the newer card. For 2 mana you can blink a thing, so you can blink your Spirited Companion or your Inspiring Overseer or your Goliath Paladin, and then you get a nice body. 6 mana, 3/3, it's no joke. I'm a little bit afraid that this deck might get some clunky hands, or if your opponent kills your Spirited Companion, Inspiring Overseer, your Ephemerate don't do anything. Blinking Tharbin Inspector twice doesn't seem that good. I mean, of course, late game you have mana to crack the treasures, but I'm a little bit scared that this deck can get clunky hands with so many 7-drops. But, this deck definitely did well. It's a deck that's raising up right now. You have a make to kill the Protection from Monocolor card. Overall, this is a deck that can do well in the format, will do well in the format, and I'm also probably playing this deck in my weekly Pauper League. I'm a little bit scared to register a card like Inspiring Overseer, which, doesn't seem great against Makeshift Munition, doesn't seem great against Mono Red, against Cool Dota. So it's only good in this, white mid-range fight where you just want to have 2-for-1s, and this is, better than, any Equal Wellspring and things like that, but, I have a lot of thoughts, but, it was a deck of the weekend of mine, and I will explore more of these strategies. Maybe you can just add Dark Ritual to this deck, honestly. You can cut a couple of Ephemerate, things like that here and there. You just jam in some Dark Ritual. The problem with Dark Ritual is that it's dead in the late game, but, maybe this deck has enough mana sink that you can make use of it even in the late game. I think Pauper is in a as much as people say it's not true, I think it's in a great place. I think it's super diverse, as in, I just don't know what to play. I just don't know what to play. It's the only format where if you ask me any format, I would tell you I would play this deck. In Pauper, I wouldn't tell you, because whenever I play Affinity, I swear, like, my lands just blow up all the time, and I just can't play Magic. Whenever I play Mono Red, the blue-black deck just goes 5/5 lifelink, you kill. So I think a lot of decks have a natural predator, and yeah, I really think it's a nice place. As much as I was maybe a little bit of a hater when Mono Red was everywhere, then I played a little bit of Mono Red, found its weakness. The deck is not winning as much, so it's cool. And this is my deck of the weekend. Plenty more to come. Thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out the YouTube videos. Every day you got a new video, so stand around and subscribe. Have a good day.